bring us home tonight. A warm welcome for Janice, everybody.
Yeah.
So Alan shakes my hand and says, "Good luck." Well, it's odd because I had a fight with the person that one of the main characters in this story, but we did make up, and I can honestly tell this story, and it is true, and it's a pretty different story for me to tell. I have a large stainless steel ant that is anatomically accurate, and it was made by and designed by and given to me by my high school sweetheart, although we didn't get together until after college. We shared an apartment in Mount Washington, and we shared many adventures. This was the early 70s. And we talked about getting married. And we decided to do it. And then Blay would come and he'd say, "You know, every time I think about getting married, I just get this sick feeling in the pit of my stomach." We had a very honest relationship. And we rode that roller coaster for a few years and then went our separate ways. He went back to Maine to live with some friends of his who had, I hate this phrase, but they lived on a hippie commune. And I stayed in Pittsburgh and for a little while, and then I moved, and then I moved again. I moved a lot. I was very restless. Heard through the grapevine that he had moved back to Pittsburgh and gotten married. So I thought, okay, we have to close that chapter of my life once and for all. And then I eventually got married. And as my marriage was spiraling towards disaster, I thought, you know, I need to get everything out of my life and my heart that's related to Blay, because maybe somehow it's holding my marriage back. So I took this stainless steel ant and found his address and mailed it off with no note and no return address. And then eventually I did get divorced. And I had heard through the grapevine that he had gotten divorced also. So I thought, you know, what the heck? Life is short. So I just called and said, "Janice Henry here, a blast from the past." And he called back, and we made a plan to meet. And after I hung up, I thought, oh my, what if he has a long gray ponytail? Just a few teeth, and the ones that he has are rotten, and his brain is fried, and all of my memories are just fantasy. So when we got together, he didn't have a long gray ponytail, and he did have most of his teeth, and his brain was very sharp. He was a scientist now, and for that reason, my message had intrigued him, because there was an article in that issue of Science magazine entitled "A Blast from the Past." It was about the light from a supernova that had exploded a long time ago, and that was first discovered on Earth in 1947, the year I was born. And now it had been bouncing around and had just reached the Earth and was giving scientists all kinds of information. And turns out he'd been doing some wondering about me during those 35 years that we were apart. Tried to find me, but I wasn't in the area and had a different last name. And just the summer before, he was with people from high school that we both had gone to school with, and he said, you know, I should have married Janice Henry back then, but I was, I don't know, too stupid, too scared to whatever. So here we were after all those years, and the highlight of that time together was sitting on a couch watching a movie, and I was struck with how peaceful I felt. Like I hadn't in years, like my heart had come home. And we got married a few months after that, and my wedding present was this stainless steel ant. It had broken in the mail. It was intact when I put it in the box, but it had broken. He had welded it back together and put a purple ribbon on it, and we have begun to share many adventures together, and we're older and wiser, and it's wonderful.